skill. So I wondered if you could explain a bit about that new pilot program and whether it's continuing this year.
Yes, I'm happy to. We're very excited that we've seen growth every year in Northern Virginia, and one of the biggest catalysts of growth last year was that pilot program with Virginia Tech. So we met with Virginia Tech to talk about how we could partner together because we saw that those STEM careers are absolutely the future and really a need for filling. We really need to figure out how we're going to fill those jobs. And so every year as we grow in Northern Virginia, we started with about 25 youth in our first year, so 2013-14. Then we grew to 50. Last year was 60, and now this year we're about 70. But the biggest change in our growth was through our partnership with Virginia Tech and the Patent and Trademark Office. And I would be remiss not to mention them as well because they sponsor and host 25 of our youth actually. So they, through our partnership with them, those students are doing careers in the STEM field. They are learning about different patents. They are searching for applications and having career fairs or green fairs with people who are interested in going into the entrepreneurship world. But back to Virginia Tech, because you brought them up, we started the pilot program with them last year. We had 4 youth working through funding with AT&T. They are another one of our big partners, and we had them working at different labs in the Ballston location and the West Falls Church location. So we had youth, and we honestly picked 4 females to work in those different labs because we do feel like they are a very much underrepresented population in the STEM world. And so through that partnership, these youth worked in the transportation lab, in the 3D printing lab. The transportation lab, Andrea was analyzing the effects of the Silver Line on traffic patterns, and in the 3D printing lab, Yamina was actually teaching courses to locals in the Arlington community and West Falls Church and sharing with them how 3D printing is the future. I learned a lot from her, honestly. I had no idea what 3D printing was. And it was through that partnership that we were able to host an event in the winter. And so we did an event on STEM employment, as we called it, and how STEM and youth employment go hand in hand. And so thanks to that partnership and Jim Eggenreiter and the staff over at Virginia Tech at the National Capital Region, we developed a curriculum that we now do with all of our interns, and it talks about those STEM skills that are going to put them ahead in the future. So Jim comes and does workshops with our youth on technical writing, on engineering, and careers in STEM. He spent a long time talking about how his career really zigzagged but then came back to STEM, and now he's hosting youth in the Think a Bit lab. And I know you had him and a representative from Qualcomm on your show, and it's amazing that these youth get to go there every day and see this lab and be there and be hands-on and be learning and then be interacting with folks in the community who want to learn more about STEM. So the pilot year was such a success that now we've expanded to 6 youth at Virginia Tech, again working in all of those labs and in those different fields. And so we hope it continues to grow because we see such a huge need for it, and because of another partnership that we have with the Department of Education, we were awarded an I3 grant, and that grant also requires us to have more STEM experiences for our youth. So we're going to continue to go down that path because we know it is the best for the future for these youth.